It is not brotherly. It is not sisterly. It is not solidaristic. It's bad. You gotta have more solidarity with the people that are in the rank and file than the people that are in the leadership.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
But, while we're talking about UPS, I figure it's worth it for us to talk about a couple of the criticisms that we've been getting about our coverage, and then we can clip this, and then I don't have to reply to comments anymore. I can just link this video, and so so that I don't have to spend the time, because frankly it's silly, a lot of the stuff that we're getting. So here's one from early this week, when we clipped the video of Teddy Ostro, where we talked to Teddy Ostro about what's in the tentative agreement. And we said that there are real gains here. And that's frankly, that's just a fact, right? It is, on that question, it is better than the previous contract, right? And there's no disputing that. Now, there's another question that's more important, that is it enough? Is it as much as the Teamsters could get? Is it the most they could get? And I think that we've answered that we probably think no, that we think that there's probably more on the table, and that whether or not the Teamsters want to get it, that's going to be up to their members. Whether they want to try to get it, whether they want to, take the action and try to get that, that's going to be up to their members, and we're going to support them in whatever the decision that they decide to make. But that we do get some criticism just because we recognize that. There's a fellow who has been in our comments who said in that one, at this point, Labor Valley Report is actively ignoring the voices of actual workers and is only propagating sellout bureaucrat talking points. They should be ashamed of themselves and ask themselves what side they're on, because it's becoming clear to the viewership what side they're on. And that's just not rooted in reality. It's absolutely not. We're actively ignoring the voices of actual workers by taking calls from actual workers and clipping every single call that we got from every side of the spectrum, from the people who were vote no in ways that we've been upfront, that we think are kind of counterproductive. It's in their right to do that, and I'm happy to allow them to say that on our platform.
Right. Yeah, I think we've tried to let folks, voice their opinions, and whether or not we agree or disagree with those opinions. Mm-hmm. And, there are arguments that I've heard on both sides of this particular issue that I have questions and concerns and critiques of. Right. And so we've allowed people who are vote no and are so vote no that they're saying that the administration is a sellout and all of this. And I just don't think that's true. I don't think that there's really evidence of that, because if the administration was going to sell out, was going to purposely get less than the membership deserved, then all of that raising expectations would not make sense. That's just not what you would do if you wanted to sell the membership out. It's just not. I think that's a very heavy charge.
It is a very heavy charge.
And, and maybe this is zooming out a bit, but when you are attacking people personally, as opposed to practices of those people or actions of those people or ideas of those people or arguments of those people, but no, the people personally, that is another level. And I think you ought to really know what you're talking about. Yeah. When you're taking it to that level, because yes, there are people out there that are bad faith actors. There are people who are corrupt. There are people who are sellouts. There are people who have ulterior motives and personal agendas, and we have to confront them head on when we encounter them. Like that's real, and that's part of it. But it's still, that's very heavy to accuse folks of being sellouts. And so, you ought to really know what you're talking about if you're going to level that charge, because at the end of the day, aren't we all brothers and sisters in this movement? Aren't we
Right.
fellow workers and members of the working class? And aren't we trying to ultimately strengthen the working class and build a better society for the working class? Now, if that's what we're all trying to do, that means on some level we have to maintain relationships, and we've got to be able to work together and collaborate. And sometimes we agree and sometimes we disagree, but a disagreement is not itself evidence of corruption or sellout or bad faith or anything like that, right?
Mhm. And that point is important, that we're brothers and sisters. We say that in our union meetings, and we should believe it. And therefore, if you actually take that to heart, I do think you have to give wide latitude for disagreement on issues.
Right. I mean, and maybe it's just because I think to some degree with us personally, like we've been organizing in the South, and it's very difficult to organize anywhere. It's particularly difficult to organize in the South. You have to be able to have conversations with folks who have very different beliefs than you, who believe things that you strongly disagree with. And who sometimes do and say things that you strongly disagree with. But you have to be able to survive. You have to be able to do that, much less to organize. And so maybe that's part of where I'm coming from with it. You know, I've been involved in the movement for about a decade now. And, you know, sorry, I haven't sold out. I just want to put that out there that I haven't sold out. I'm not selling out. Won't be selling out. No one's paid me off. No one's even tried to, honestly. And so, you know, I haven't gotten rich off this.
I mean, like any actual, and that's, and you know, on the idea that we are selling out, like, and of course, you know, viewers aren't going to know this, but any analysis of where we are versus where we would be but for our union activity is so silly, the idea to think that we have sold out, because, you know, we have given, I mean, I can just speak, you know, I can speak for both of us. We've given thousands of dollars to this movement.
Right.
Just to, even just to this show,
right.
but also to other stuff. And then hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of our time that is volunteer for the vast majority of it. Yeah. I have taken so much annual leave for union activity, not compensated by the union. I couldn't even tell you how many hours it was. And I've paid for my own travel to do stuff. I have taken time to talk people. I have taken time off of work to study for grievances. You know, the idea that we have is just, it's silly. It's silly. But, you know, generally, like I said, I think we have to have wide latitude for disagreement if we genuinely consider each other brothers and sisters. And so, but we've allowed people, and we've been respectful of them because for the people that are leveling those allegations, it does come from a real place. And it's not as if they don't have any reason for believing that, because part-timers at UPS have been shafted by the leadership, and part-timers at UPS have been shafted by UPS. They are paid much less. They have much less security. They have much less, you know, I mean, it's just, they've been shafted, and sometimes they are ignored by the package car drivers who, you know, have more control over the union. And so it's coming from a real place, of course, right? But I do think, you know, and that's why I am respectful, and I do allow them to make that case if they want. And I just disagree with it, even if I'm more sympathetic to the vote no. And then we've also had people who are saying their vote no that is more in line with kind of where we are. Like, we think that there's more on the table, and so let's go get it. And then we've had people who are saying that they're going to vote yes, who've called in and said that, you know, I just think it's too risky. I don't think, you know, blah, blah, all this.
And we know for a fact there are people who are on the vote yes side of things who have been displeased with our coverage and feel like we've been too critical of leadership or too critical of the contract, or you know, given too much of a platform to the vote no people, right? So sometimes you just can't win, right? You know, you're too far left for some folks and not left enough for others. You know, those kinds of things are just part of it. But, you know, at the end of the day, we're just working class folks doing the best we can in our labor movement, trying to grow our labor movement, trying to provide a platform for working people. And, you know, you're not always going to agree with everything we say, and that's okay. You're not going to always agree with everything folks say inside your union. You're not going to, it's just part of it, but you got to have healthy dialogue, right? And there's constructive criticism and destructive criticism. Right. And, you know, like I know for this show particularly, I've received some constructive criticism that I've taken to heart that I've thought was very helpful and, you know, helped me to learn and grow and reflect. You know, and that's different from just, you know, destructive criticism. Because at the end of the day, like, the name of our game in this movement is addition and multiplication, not subtraction and division. Right. And so you got to always remember, like, which side of it are we contributing to? Right. And so, yeah, I agree. You got to have wide latitude for disagreements. And if you're going to go to the level of, well, someone is actually a sellout, someone is a traitor, someone is this or that, on a personal level, like, and personalize it to that degree, you should have some evidence and you should have some good reasons to take it to that level.
And, you know, one of the reasons that they're saying that some of these people have said that we are selling out is because they say that there's an overwhelming amount of vote no comments and people feeling, quote, spurned by this channel. And frankly, I mean, you know, we're addressing this, but the comments that are actually accusing us of selling out are very, very minimal, even though there are a lot of vote no comments. But
there are a lot of vote no comments.
There are a lot of vote yes comments.
That's fair to say as
well. And we have pushed back on some of the vote yes comments because some of the vote yes comments have frankly been, I mean, honestly, even more disrespectful than the people who are accusing leadership of selling out, because some of these vote yes comments who are coming from regular package car drivers who are at this top rate of $42 an hour.
Very dismissive towards other folks.
Very dismissive. Saying, you know, some of the stuff has been, oh, well, I had to do it, and so they should too, which is so silly and such an
not helpful at all.
Not helpful, not a union mentality. The idea, you know, I mean, like, people had to work 17-hour days. Does that mean that we should all have to work 17-hour days? It's so silly. They're saying that, you know, if you want to make full-time pay, you should get on full-time, not recognizing that it is difficult. It takes a long time to get to be a regular package car driver at UPS, and not everyone can be a regular package car driver at UPS because of this or that reason or disabilities or whatever, but they can be a warehouse worker. And frankly, the idea that package car work is so much more valuable than warehouse work does not make sense to me at all. Because it
takes everybody.
It takes everybody, and you can't, you can't deliver the packages if people don't put them on your truck, if people don't sort them, if people don't get them from the planes, if people don't, if people don't put them on the planes. I mean, the idea that I do not understand that at all. The idea that it is right and good that part-timers make half the wage that full-timers make, and then also the idea that just because you work part-time, you should get a penalty on, if you work part-time, you get a penalty by virtue of not working as many hours, right? Obviously, if you make the same wage as somebody working 40 hours a week, but you work 20 hours a week, you're going to make less money. Right. But then on top of that, there are package car drivers in our comments saying that in addition to making less money because they work less hours, they should make a lower wage, which, I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me at all.
Doesn't make sense to me either.
And it's disrespectful. It is not brotherly. It is not sisterly. It is not solidaristic. It's bad. And we have said such.
Right.
And we've pushed back very strongly. And I'm pushing back now. That's bad. That's honestly even worse than the vote no people who are saying that leadership is sellouts, right? Because as much as I have a wide latitude for disagreement, even among people in leadership, you got to have more solidarity with the people that are in the rank and file than the people that are in the leadership.
Right.
And there are package car drivers out there that are not doing that. that are belittling
That's not helpful.
their brothers and sisters in the warehouse, and it's gross. And we've said such. And you know, so actually if somebody said that, if somebody got on the line and said that, we would push back and we would shut that down, actually. That would be one place where we would shut it down. But we've allowed people to say voting yes, and I don't know if there's as many of those disrespectful package car drivers as there are vote knowers, but there's a lot. And the idea that it's just so obvious from our comment section, which again is not a representative sample of UPSers, people that find clips of the Valley Labor Report on YouTube, you know, not a representative sample of UPSers, obviously.
Right.
And so, you know, so there we go. And then also they said it is very neutral of us to paint Sean O'Brien as a hero when we covered the Yellow situation. Didn't paint him as a hero, painted Yellow as the villain, which was accurate. And then they said we haven't posted any clips of the callers about that were vote no. And they said they commented that on Tuesday, which we release clips every day of the week. You know, I mean, I don't know. There are people that just want to disagree. There are just disagreeable people. There are people that have an imaginary, you know, a vision of us in their minds that they just want to be upset and they want to be mad, and you know, whatever, that's
right. Yeah, exactly. Some folks just want to be mad on the internet, and that's okay. And sometimes folks want to just gripe at strangers on the internet and be mean to them, and that's fine. Yeah. Like if that makes you feel better, if that gives you some kind of dopamine rush or whatever, then you know, you do you. But out here in the real world, if you're trying to organize, you know, it is sort of a different situation. And so I hope that the conversations happening among Teamsters in their shops, at the warehouses, and among the drivers, I hope it's a healthier dialogue than some of what we've seen in our comment sections, that's for sure. And I also definitely want to lift up some of the comments we received on YouTube, which is that solidarity doesn't mean everyone agrees. Right. It means standing and sticking together. And that's absolutely right. Yeah, you look out for one another, you protect one another, you fight for one another. And it's kind of like, you know, you have arguments inside the family, and then there are arguments outside the family. Right. And there's a difference.
That's another thing. I am much more willing to be more biting in my critiques when I'm not on the radio. Right? When I'm with my union brothers and sisters, I'm willing to, you know, there are some things that I'm more candid about.
That you and I have talked about in terms of this Teamsters situation that we're not going to say publicly because it's not going to be very helpful. Right. And, you know, again, it bears repeating, we aren't Teamsters. We don't work for UPS. We are labor union members who obviously have an interest as working class activists. But, you know, by definition, we're outside observers. So any perspective an outside observer has is going to be different than a perspective a UPSer has. Yeah. And as you've illustrated, perspectives within the UPSers can be vastly different depending on where they sit in that, you know, in that hierarchy, more or less. Yeah. There we go. There we go.
All right. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.